I'm Lisa, and you're with Velo Dulce, the show where we talk women, cycling, and life. Velo Dulce is from the Italian phrase La vita dolce, which means the good life. These are stories from women around the world on finding the good life through life on a bicycle. So my guest today is my friend Molly, my Mikey, as we say in South Africa, Molly Yurick. We met through actually a good mutual friend who's also South African, but we all live in Spain. So today we're going to talk cycling success and language. Well, in my case, it's more like lost in translation, but more about that later. Molly, after 12 years, more than 12 years of living in Spain, she understands culture, history, and language like few foreigners do. I would actually say like better than most locals. She's originally from Minnesota, but Spaniards constantly mistake her for a local. And that's because she spent a lifetime crafting Spanish language skills. So Molly actually recently joined me in my love of cycling. Molly, welcome to the show. So nice to chat to you.
Thank you for having me.
It's
good to be here.
Yeah, so it's funny. Today I'm speaking to you from South Africa and you're in Oviedo. How weird.
Yeah, we had to swap continents to talk.
Right. Okay, so first let's start with cycling. I actually couldn't remember when you started.
So I've always liked, cycling or biking as I called it in the States growing up, but
yeah,
I always bike. I always had a bike at home. We always had bikes and went out. There's where I'm from in the States, in Minnesota, is one of the best states for biking, like a bike-friendly state. And so the city and the whole state are full of like these lovely cycling trails that go all over the state, which is really nice. So right next to my parents' house where I grew up, there's a lot of bike trails, and well, they're called mountain biking trails, but really there's no mountains. It's all just hills, because Minnesota is quite a flat state. So I've been like biking just for fun for a long time, but in the sense of actually feeling like I'm actually biking or cycling, the first time I think was with you and your group, where I thought, oh, this is okay. This is like a whole different world now. And that was just this last summer.
Was that day we had coffee? We had coffee. Yeah, I remember that.
We had coffee and get out, and you hooked me up with
Juan and Antonio.
Juan and Antonio.
My two trusted steeds.
Yes, and they were so lovely and kind. I was quite nervous, of course, because I was just, wearing my running shoes and showed up, and they looked me up and down and thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. But they were really nice and really patient, and that was so fun. And that was kind of my first and last more serious route, I would say.
Well, I dragged you on we did like 70K.
Oh, that's right.
That day?
Did we do that many?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
I think so.
I'm proud of myself if it was. Because I did that one route, which was 50, which was already like 50K, which was already, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did 50. I'd maybe always done like a max of 30 or 40.
Yeah.
And then, the day I went out with you, maybe we did do 70.
I seem to remember we did, and your ass was pretty sore after that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Ass and other parts were quite sore.
Yeah, that is the thing about cycling. I don't know what happens, but like you start and it's especially when you go on like a longer distance, it's horrible and everything hurts. And you're like, why do people even do this?
Yes. Well, my thought was, how do people, not why, because it's fun. how. I don't understand how,
It
which was then, when I think I sent you a WhatsApp and said, Lisa, what do I do? This is so painful. And you said, you can't wear underwear with cycling shorts.
In fact, if you are listening out there in the world and you have just started cycling, please do not wear underwear with your cycling shorts. You will cry.
I did. It was so painful.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful. I thought, oh my God, I'm so happy I asked Lisa, because how long would I have been cycling with underwear, and it would have been terrible, and maybe I wouldn't have been able to continue, but that made a big difference. So to all beginning cyclers,
Yes.
no undies.
And trust me, it's a weird thing with cycling is that I actually had a break of about a month a while ago, and then I started again, and my ass was so sore, and I was like, wow, I remember this feeling. So don't worry, it actually happens even if you've been cycling for years. It's a case of like, I don't know, it's like your muscles get fit, your butt gets fit too. So something happens, after like a few weeks, you're like, oh, okay, it's like sitting in an armchair.
Yeah, I suppose I'm not quite there yet.
Don't take my word for it. You'll see.
With time.
Yeah. So what is the deal with cycling? Like, what does cycling bring for you?
Oh, so I just feel really free when I'm on a bike. I feel like I'm flying.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to, as a kid, I would always dream, like my favorite dream was dreaming that I was like a bird and I could fly. And so when when you get out on a bike and you're just going, and it's just, you get in the groove, and I feel like I'm flying. And
I love that feeling.
And this summer was such a great change, because growing up, I always had like, okay bikes, whatever, growing up. And this summer, I finally said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm getting a nice bike that I'm really comfortable on and that I'm excited about. I'm going to spend money on a bike. And I bought a secondhand bike that was, what's the word? Carbono in English?
Carbon
bike. Okay. I bought a secondhand carbon bike.
A Specialized, which is, if you're in the world of cycling, like Specialized is kind of like up there with like a Porsche and a car brand.
Is it? That's exciting. So my husband calls it my Ferrari.
It's red.
Yeah, it's like bright orange or bright red or something.
Very pretty.
It's amazing. And it took me a while to get it because it was halfway across Spain. My brother-in-law went to pick it up for me and tried it out for me because he's really into cycling. And he said, no, it's a great purchase, great price, just get it. And so he picked it up for me. But then with the pandemic here in Spain, with the borders in each region being closed and not being able to move around, I had to wait like 6 months to get it.
And it was worth it.
It was worth it because it came, I think, in June or July. And then I was gone the month of June in visiting family in Minnesota after 2 years of not being able to go.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I just had this new little toy to play with. And it's been so fun because, my God, does that thing fly? I got on it. Like, wow.
Well, wait, our next stop is shoes, right?
Yeah. So I just finally bought my bike shoes, which I texted you last night to see what they're actually called, because I'm sure they have a name.
Shoes with cleats.
Shoes with cleats. Okay, I got some shoes with cleats.
Oh, we call them cycling shoes.
Cycling shoes. Okay, I got some cycling shoes, and I tried them out yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
In my garage, my buildings, live in an apartment building. It was scary, but good.
It is.
Yeah, it's scary. I really don't want to fall. So I think I'll just keep doing that for a few days until I get used to them.
It's weird. It's like you can't possibly imagine it. I think it's like learning to drive a car. Like when you first start driving a car, you're like, oh my God, clutch control, like indicator and stopping. And this is all too much for my brain. And then like you just drive. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of
Yeah,
it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
quite like, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is so weird.
And then you just do.
And I can just picture myself toppling over somewhere very terrible and like getting hurt.
Listen, you can't beat my story. Like my first time in cycling shoes was obviously here in South Africa, and I went out cycling with my mates, and we came to a robot. Well, you call them traffic lights.
Oh, robot.
And yes, South Africans call them robots. And I couldn't get my feet out, so I did like a slow tumble. Like I could feel myself going down, but it was like it took a really long time. And all the cars next to me, you could see they were all laughing, and I was like, "Shut up, it's hard."
Oh no. You just look like a little toy, soldier just tipping over.
I think it's a good idea to practice in the garage,
Okay.
but you'll ace it. Don't worry about it.
One of my neighbors is really into cycling, and he just happened to come down to the garage when I was practicing, and so he helped me with some techniques, which was nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like being free as a bird. You landed up in Spain. I mean, your Spanish is like, I'm like, oh, one day I want to speak Spanish like Mali. Like, how did you get to Spain? You married to a local Asturian. Like, what's that story?
It's kind of long. I'll try and make it not so long. I went to a Spanish immersion school as a kid.
Okay.
So there's a Spanish immersion school in my town that opened just a couple of years before I started school. And my dad worked for an airline for many years, and his whole career he worked for an airline, and so we traveled a lot. And my parents would travel to Europe and think, oh, it's so cool, Europeans speak, usually more than one language, at least a little bit. Americans don't. And so the school opened up and they enrolled us, and so by first grade all of our entire school day was in Spanish. And so all of primary school, elementary school was in Spanish, and then middle and high school middle school was bilingual, so half English, half Spanish. And then high school, I just had one advanced Spanish class. And then when I went to college, I didn't really know. I was first generation college student, and I didn't really know what to study. I didn't really have anything in mind, so I studied Spanish because it was what I liked and loved. I studied abroad in Spain. I also took a trip. Actually, my first trip to Spain was when I was like 13. So we had, or maybe even younger, maybe 10. So my parents had made friends with teachers from my school, and one of them lived in Manresa, just outside of Barcelona. And so we went to visit him. I loved it. Then my school did a trip in 8th grade. So I think I was 13. I spent a week with the Spanish family and loved it. And even when I was 13, I was like, I'm going to live in Spain when I grow up.
That's amazing. And here you are.
And here I am. So I studied abroad in Spain. And then the second I finished, I did 6 months in Barcelona. And then the second I finished college, I said, okay, I have to move to Spain. So I signed up for this program with the Ministry of Education to teach English here as a teaching assistant.
Okay.
So I signed up for that. I spent a year in the south of Spain. And that was right when like the big economic crisis was happening. It was 2009, 2010. The States was not in a really good place. Neither was Spain, but I was teaching English, so who cares?
Right.
And I thought, I'll just stay one more year. And I kind of knew in the back of my head, it was hard for me to make the decision, because I was like, I have a feeling this decision is going to change my life somehow. And I decided to stay one more year. I was placed in a school here in the north of Spain, in Gijón. And then I met my husband a few months later, and now I've been here.
How did you meet him? Are we allowed to know that story?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he owned a bar. So I met him through like a local acquaintance. I was living in Gijón, and there was this Facebook group for foreigners in Asturias, and well, there still is. And someone posted, oh, I'm going out in Oviedo tonight if anyone wants to come. I hadn't been to Oviedo before, so I came, I met her, and we went out to this bar, and she said, oh, I know the owner, who was my husband, Pelayo. And we met that night and hit it off. And
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Quite a few years later, my 1 year teach abroad turned into,
Yeah,
I don't know how long it's been, 12 now, or 11, 12.
unbelievable. If you talk about like being free as a bird, like you are literally that person to me. Like you represent that person kind of in life. You know how different people represent different things?
Yeah.
So like that is my picture of you, because you kind of you've made your life, like when I look at you, how to convey this properly, but when I look at you, like you are like how to put it, it's always difficult trying to convey how someone else is through your eyes, but to me you're like, you are that person who's free as a bird. Like I never see you, and obviously this is my perspective, and we never see people, you know, we see people through our own eyes, but like I see you as that free of a bird person, because you're generally always laughing. You're never like super stressed. Like I can get really, really stressed out and really anxious. You just kind of seem to cruise, not cruise through life, and that life is easy for you, but you seem to take life with that approach. Is that right? Or
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I love that that's your perspective, though. That's pretty amazing. I was already thinking I'm gonna like frame that and put it in my office wall somewhere. Like,
I really do think that. And
it.
okay, so we actually have to take 2 steps back, because people don't know this about you. So a few weeks ago, I can't remember when it was, maybe a month or 2 ago, Money Heist came out, season 5 in Spain, and obviously I'm addicted like the rest of the world has been. And I was watching it with my mom. Sometimes we watch in Spanish and sometimes we watch in English. And there at the end of Money Heist credits was your name. And I was like, what the hell? And I messaged you and I was like, what is this? And you're like, oh yeah, I did the subtitling for Money Heist. I was like, what? On Netflix? You did the subtitling for Money Heist on Netflix? That's insane. Like who does that? And I was like, wow, that is unbelievable. So I mean, I know you're super down to earth. Like for me, that is the ultimate achievement in your career. Like,
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I have all of these. Yeah, I can't unfortunately tell people personally that I do that because it's in my NDA, but my name is in the credits. And sometimes people, see it and then they'll say, oh my gosh, you're in there. And I say, yeah, I can't deny it now.
That's pretty amazing. And
it was really fun. It was a really big project, but very, very fun. And I started, so I've been translating for, and when I came to Spain, I was teaching English, right? But it's not really my thing. It was not my happy place.
Right.
If you want to see stressed Molly, you can see me standing in front of a classroom of children sweating because I wasn't stressed and I enjoyed parts of it, but every time I got in front of a class and I would just sweat the whole hour down. Wow. Luckily, I sweat down my back so no one could see it, but it's not my thing. So
okay.
I started translating, and that was going quite well. But when the pandemic hit, I was mostly translating tourism things. So hotels, airlines, like their marketing and materials and copy and all of that from Spanish into English. When the pandemic hit, all of that disappeared. And I thought, I've always wanted to try subtitling. So I took a course and started subtitling. And it's been quite an adventure. I definitely found like my niche and my thing that I love, and like my power zone that, creative power zone that people talk about.
Right.
Which I always thought was quite, hokey and just like, ugh, people are so annoying. And then I found mine. I'm like, oh, it actually does exist. I just hadn't found it yet. So it's been really fun. I love it. And I've been doing subtitling for a little over a year now. but yeah, in just a year, I started working on that series and a few other series that I can't, and films that I can't, unfortunately name or share. But yeah, it's been really fun. It's
That's
been
amazing.
amazing. And I
So,
love it.
so maybe it's that I can see. It's like you're super happy in your career and that sense of kind of freedom.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I
Yeah.
mean, I've always like, yeah, the pandemic was a good year for me. It gave me a lot of space to think and explore and try new things. And it gave me this, time to explore this new specialization and
Right.
niche for me. It worked out really well. But I've, growing up traveling so much with my parents and everything, I always knew that I wanted to travel a lot and have freedom in my life. So I've only worked one full-time office job once.
Yeah.
One summer, I worked in a bilingual call center. So I was answering phone calls in Spanish and English. And I mean, working in a call center is obviously not ideal, but it was being tied to a schedule and to an office was just destroyed me on every level. And I was like, I can't do this ever. So I've always been in search of a way to not be location dependent and to be able to travel when I want, where I want. So I'm completely freelance and I can work from anywhere. So I just have tried to build a life around that, around having freedom and being able to travel. And the pandemic year, although it was good, it was hard. I usually spent three months a year traveling, more or less. The 2 pandemic years, of course, couldn't go.
Yeah.
NATO barely.
Although you guys have just come back now from the States.
Yeah, we just spent 3 months in the States, which was really nice. We traveled all around the States, and I worked the whole time I was there. So yeah, I guess free as a bird could be my life motto.
Yeah, I think it is amazing. I think, sometimes because we're in the picture, we don't see what's happening, if you know what I mean. But if you look at your life kind of through the journey, and if, I know there's loads of people who would love to create a life where they would be able to travel, or whether they would love to follow their dream career, but they don't. And you've done that. So it's pretty amazing. Like,
thank you.
Yeah. What would be your advice? And you kind of adopted cycling in the same way. You were like, okay, cool. I like this. Like, let's go do it.
Well, I have to say I've been wanting to cycle more for many years, but I didn't have anyone to go with, and I get bored after like an hour. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, cycling on your own sucks.
For 2 hours, it's like I'm bored. And so meeting you and then our other friend Jamie as well, who also just she's Dutch, so she's a cycling in her blood, right? But
yes.
It's been nice. So she's starting with me, and we've been able to go out more, and it's been great. I've just jumped on the opportunity. Like, yes, I've been wanting to do this for so long, and now I have people to help me do it. And you've been like my patron saint of cycling. Lisa this, Lisa that. And I send Lisa more questions about cycling than, my gosh.
That's okay. So that's why we are friends.
Yes. It's been really nice.
I see Jamie just put on her cycling shoes for the first time this last weekend. She went out with the girls.
Yes, she did. And she the day before, she just went around the block with them on, and she fell also at a street corner, I think.
Okay.
And I saw her, she was full of bruises and scrapes, but she was okay. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna practice in the garage for a few more days.
Just go in the garage or the park or something, and just you'll be fine.
Yeah, take it slow.
Yeah. You'll be fine. Take it slow. So like I remember I was chatting to you the other day. We went on a walk, and you were telling me, and this is something I really admire about you. And like you mentioned just now, it's like, oh, you did a course for subtitling, and we were chatting about finances, and you were like, oh yeah, I took a course and to learn about like managing my finances, and that made such a big difference. And I think that's amazing. Have you always been open to learning, or like where does
Yeah,
that come from?
I don't know. I don't know where it comes from, but every time every year I probably take some kind of course for my business. So, learning a new skill, or just keeping up to date on other skills that I already have, or, improving this or improving that. Every time I take a course, I said, I'm done. I don't have to do any more courses. But then, if you want to improve and keep getting better at whatever it is that you're doing, you have to just always be on top of it. So every year I probably take one or two courses, or
I think it's a pretty good life philosophy. Like, doesn't matter. I mean, she's learning Spanish, not just learning the language, but when you learn a new language, you learn a new way of viewing the world. And actually, I don't know if you agree.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. It's kind of fun when friends come to visit from Minnesota and come to visit me here. My friends that are a little more observant will come up with very interesting conclusions about my Spanish personality.
Yeah, I am pretty like, oh, there's a Spanish Lisa and there's a South African Lisa. And it's amazing.
Yes. And the words too, even just the vocabulary and the words that you have to describe the world and the people around you are so different.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't translate, and which is something I see every day in my work, but trying to find the translation for things.
Trying to meet in the middle.
Yeah, or find some kind of equivalent to some things, but in Spanish I have a different tone of voice. I have a different way of interacting and speaking with people. And my friend that most recently visited finally had visitors after so long this fall, said, oh, you interrupt people a lot in Spanish. Do that in English. I said, well, yeah, because otherwise you can't get in a word edgewise. They never stop talking. You just have to go for it.
Yesterday, I asked my sister a question, and she was like, why are you shouting at me? I'm like, I'm not shouting at you. I'm asking you a question. I realized that's my Spanish personality coming in. Otherwise, you never get hurt.
Yeah, no, you have to yell and you have to interrupt, and you've got to, it's a different spice in life.
Funny. I remember so basically how I learned to speak Spanish was through cycling. So I met the guys who you met, and I started cycling with them, and then obviously none of them really speak English. But it was great because I had to learn Spanish. And I remember the one day we were cycling home, and I was so excited because I'd made chicken soup at home, and I was explaining this to them in my then very broken Spanish. And I was like, hice sopa de polla en casa.
Oh, no.
They were like, oh my gosh, you made penis soup? And they were like almost falling off their bicycles because it was so funny. But it was like, and then they explained to me, and I was like, oh, okay. So literally, if you change one letter, it's like the difference between penis and chicken. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like one little letter and the whole thing changes.
I would have loved to have seen them explaining what a polla was to you on a bicycle.
Oh, it was really funny. I mean, they were trying to cycle and not fall off the bike from laughter and use their hands to explain like the whole concept. So you can only imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Do you think you can bridge the gap between Spanish and English?
Yeah. I mean, the longer I'm here, the more I realize that, like, especially Americans and Spaniards and the States and Spain are just more and more different every time. Like the longer I'm
Right.
here, the more I'm like, oh my God, we have nothing in common. Like
Right.
it seems like we're not that different, but then the longer I'm here, the more I'm like, okay, because we're both Western cultures,
Yes.
supposedly, okay, but that's it. The rest is so different. There's some things that just don't translate.
Mm.
There are some things that just don't. But
Yeah.
in the end, like the more I travel and the longer I'm here as well, I realize like in the end, all humans, we all just want the same things in life,
Sure.
right? And so in the end, the message always gets across because more or less we're all saying and doing the same things, just slightly different, like with a different filter. Right?
Yeah. Has it made married life interesting?
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, married life is interesting, like in itself, but I mean, married life cross language and cross culture.
Yeah. Sometimes when I see my friends at home with their monolingual, monocultural marriages, I think, God, that's gotta be easy. Like,
I know my sister is marrying a Frenchman, and yeah, she tells me to. So it's kind of funny.
yeah, I mean, now after it's been we've been together for a long time now, like I think almost 11 years.
Wow.
And now it's not so much of an issue, but it's surprising sometimes how things still come up, or little language things like, in Spanish, they often say like, no puedes sentir, like you can't feel that way.
Right.
You can't feel. And so like, we'll say that you can't feel, if we're arguing, you can't feel that way. I'm like, I can feel however.
No, I really can. It's my body and my life.
Right, but in Spanish, that's like it really, they mean it's supposed to come off as a suggestion, but
right.
It when you translate it, and it doesn't. It comes off as a command. Like, you can't, and so that's one of our. So he's on changing that. On changing how I receive that, and him working on changing how he says that. But
amazing.
Those are the language things,
Sure.
That even after a lifetime of Spanish, there's still some stuff that in my head just dings.
Absolutely.
That's not okay.
Absolutely. So now, where to here, like work, cycling?
Sorry?
Where to from here?
Oh, where to from now with work and cycling?
Yeah.
Well, with work, this year my goal is to start training other subtitlers to begin in the subtitling business. So I've started to teach. Last year, I started teaching a course on how to break into subtitling. And this year, I'm starting to offer some consulting services for new subtitlers, aspiring subtitlers, which I'm very excited about.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of my other goals is to subtitle a film that's in the cinema. In a movie theater. So maybe it'll happen this year, but that's a career goal for me.
That's
I would love.
Awesome.
And in cycling, my main goal is to start using my special shoes.
Love it.
And maybe do 100K ride, although I'm not sure if that's a goal I actually have, or just one that's been put in my head by Juan and
by me. Okay, cool. I blame it on them.
The first one, they say, oh, you'll be doing 100. And I said, oh my God, I don't know.
Well,
it would feel cool, I guess.
Yeah, we'll do it for sure. Summer.
Yes.
Summertime.
Ahead.
Yeah. So I always like to take one thing away from people I chat to. And I really think like what I see in you is the way you want to live your life. It's possible. And you take the steps you need to take, like learning or doing a course or whatever, in order to get there. And I know so many people who don't do that. Why do you think people don't do that? And what is your kind of parting thought for people who want to live their life like free as a bird?
Okay, so I think for the first part, I think we want certain things, but sometimes we actually don't want them. We just think we want them.
Right.
Yeah. For a long time, one of the big changes with that finance course that I told you about that changed my life, there were two things, which was the first one was for years I had been telling myself I wanted to meet this income goal. And the income goal was actually coming from external forces like people and speaking about, oh, I'm reaching three figure income, right? Which is a big American like goal. And sitting down and doing my finances and being like, especially living in Spain, there is absolutely no need to make a 3-figure income living in Spain. And I realized that the amount of hours I would have to work to reach that goal was not in line with what I wanted my day to look like. You know, so that was a big thing, was I thought I wanted this thing.
Right.
It wasn't making it happen. I wasn't getting there. And then I took this course and realized, oh, it's because I actually don't want that. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I don't want to have to put in the work to get there.
Which is, that's impressive. Yeah.
So I think a lot of times we think we want certain things, or we say we want certain things, but when you sit down and think about it, you know, people say, oh, I wish I could travel like you. A lot of people say that. I wish I could be location, you know, more location independent like you. And I say,
you can.
Do you though? Or does it just sound like that's what you want?
Yeah.
Because really most people, I mean, like having a routine, and you know, I also enjoy really coming back home and getting back into a routine and having my space and all these things. There's a lot of value to that too. So that's the one part. And for people who actually want to do it, I think you just sit down one day and you just do it. Because the second part of that finance course, it was really silly, but she said, sit down and just think about your ideal day. Like, what would that look like to you? And I had never actually sat down and thought about it. And I said, oh, I would actually like to be done with work by 3, have lunch, and then have the whole evening to myself. Like to exercise, to go to the gym, to go out on my bike, to see a friend, to do whatever I want to do, to go to the cinema with my husband or whatever. And then I the next week I started doing it, because I realized I just wasn't organizing my day correctly, and I wasn't you know, economizing my time at work. I was maybe dinking around a little too much on, you know, social media or on my break. I would get caught up and say, oh, I'm just going to read 10 minutes of this book on my coffee break. And then it turns into half. And so when I just focused my time and said, oh, I can actually make my dream day happen. But I had never sat down to think about what my dream day looked like.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like often people say, you know, oh, I really want to be able to go away on a holiday, or I want whatever the thing it is. We all want something. But when you actually deep dive into your behavior on that thing, you're not behaving in alignment with that thing you want.
Right, because you might not actually want it.
Yeah.
You just think you want it.
Either you think you want it, or you're afraid, or for whatever reason, and then you don't take those steps.
Yeah.
100%.
Just sitting down and doing it. That's, I mean, it's kind of the only thing you can do, right?
Just do it.
Actually deciding what you want, and then just one day sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to take the small steps to get there. It's in the end, it's small steps to get to a big thing, right?
Yeah. So that's I think a great place for us to pause, and we will continue the conversation when I get back to Spain. But I think you must get on your bicycle and just do it with the cycling shoes.
Okay. It's raining today, so it's a good garage day. But tomorrow the sun is supposed to come out, so maybe tomorrow will be my big day. I will let you know.
You got this, Molly. Listen, if you can do the stuff you've done in your life, like honestly, cycling shoes is nothing.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
No, I'll get there.
Please, will you part ways with us in Spanish?
Oh, sure. Pues ha sido un placer hablar contigo y no sé.
Y muchas gracias a
Hasta luego.
ti.
Muchas gracias y hasta muy pronto. Nos vemos
Sí,
pronto.
nos vemos pronto. Gracias.
Un beso.
Chao.
Chao.
My name is Lisa, and thank you for joining me. You know what to do. Subscribe, please share with a friend. Most importantly, get on your bicycle, drag your mate, drink some coffee, and I will see you next week for another episode of Bella Dulce and the Good Life.